Hey everyone, this is Jules. I wanted to do I guess a part two. I did a video back in August last year of 2011 sharing what die cutting and what a die cut was, or what a die was, and a couple things that I didn't share on there. It was basically to answer those questions. What is a die? What is die cutting? And so I did answer that, and I think that something that I wanted to do in addition, and which I'll do in this video, is to kind of show what it is that you'll need, what's needed for different dies. What you're looking at is my Big Shot machine. There's a video out there that says, you know, what for scrapbooking, what's the best die cutting machine for you, and you have to go out there and see what it is that you're needing. I think this is one of the most universal, the Big Shot machine is, because it takes a lot of different die sizes and different brands as well. I know that there is there's a couple of Spellbinder die cutting machines out there, but they only cut the Spellbinders. They don't cut like big thicker dies like the like your extra large dies or your original size dies, which are these thicker ones here. These are all Sizzix, and so I wanted to just kind of share with you guys with the Big Shot what you need. And I know that there's other videos out there, but I wanted it for my own library, and since I do newbie segments every now and again, I wanted to do this for that as well. So for a die basically this size, there are a couple of different, let me show you. This one's called an originals size. You see that? It's just a little bit smaller. This one is a bigs, and then there's an XL that is twice as long, so it's like the 6 by like 12. And I don't have one sitting here, I have it in my other room, but I have that. And then you have Sizzlets, which are flat like this, and like, so I have a little box full of little Sizzlets. These are very, very flat, and so to be able to run them through your die cutting machine, you need to give it some depth so that the pressure will press your paper. Especially with the Sizzlets, you can only do paper. So it'll press it enough to cut the shape out that you're looking for. This one is a vine. So let me show you another one, is a strip, a decorative strip, which are these guys. These are Tim Holtz Alterations one, and there are also some from Sizzix. So it does this whole cut here, and you might be able to, yeah, you can see some of it there. Just the border. So these are decorative strips, okay? What you're going to need to cut out from your dies, let me show you with the big one first. Now this one will speak for all of the ones with the same depth, okay? The bigs, the originals, the smaller originals, and then the extra long ones that are all this depth. You are going to need a couple of things. You need to have your cutting plates, which is your two like breads to sandwich it. These here are your cutting plates, and you always need two for your dies, for these here. And you don't need anything in addition. You use whatever it is that you want to cut out. Let me get a piece of paper. Actually, that's too small. I'm just going to cut a piece of it out. So this here is a decorative frame. You can see the shape a little bit there. So I'm going to just set it down and get like the bottom part of it so you can see the decoration of it. So always foam and blade size up, or side up, okay? And you set the hard part of it down on one cutting plate. Then you get another cutting plate, set it on top of it so it's sandwiched, okay? Now remember, since the blades are wedged inside, they're anchored down inside this part where the foam is, that's where you want to put either your cardstock, chipboard, fabric, felt, whatever, and then you sandwich it. And once you sandwich it, then you can crank it in there. Now there is a Big Shot, I think it's called Express if I'm not mistaken, but it is an electrical Big Shot that you push a button up here and it just electronically just pulls it in. So this is the frame, and this is how it cuts it out. It's just nice and clean cut. If you're gonna do a die that is this size, like the little vine guy, you can still use this one here. You're still gonna need to sandwich them, but But the Big Shot comes with a multi-purpose platform, and it tells you exactly, it has illustrations on what to sandwich on where and how if you're going to use this particular die. So this one here, this is a wafer thin die that I don't think I have any of these this size here, but the Spellbinders dies you can use on top on this particular platform here. So this creates the depth that you need to cut your pieces out. Okay, like on this is tab number 2, so then on this side is tab number 1, and it's got some illustrations here as far as what you can use for this depth here. So this is like a little shim. This one, oops, sorry, this one also is a shim. So we're going to do the little sizzlets, this guy here, and show you, since it's on this particular tab, this is the tab that you want to cut on, so you have to feed that in first. Use this tab. Got to use one cutting pad, then your die, and then you want to get whatever paper or whatever it is that you're going to cut out and set it on top of that. Put your other cutting plate on top, and it should give the right depth so that when you run it through, it'll press your paper down on your die and it'll cut out the shape that's on there. And then when you are done, it'll cut this little guy out. And see, this is just a little bit tight. Just have to carefully pull it out. And there's the little vine. Super cute. Really, really cute. Now, for your longer ones, for the decorative strips, like the Tim Holtz Carnival die, this one here requires something a little bit different, because you want to have something that is the same length, width, and gives the right depth so that you can run your die through. And with that, you're going to use a extended spacer platform. This is exactly 13.5 inches long. Yep, 13.5. Okay. This here is supposed to help with giving enough of the depth or thickness that it needs to be ran into the die cutting machine itself. And then you'll need some two cutting plates. And normally they all come in pairs, and it tells you on here how to sandwich it. So here's the spacer, a cutting plate, the die, the paper, and then another cutting plate to set on top. See that? So you just follow that. So the platform, a cutting plate, the decorative strip die, and I'm just going to throw a little piece of paper in there just so it'll cut out a letter or so, and then the other cutting plate. Run it through, and it grabs it, so it gives it just enough width that it needs so that the paper can be pressed down onto the die itself and cut out what you need. So here is so it cuts out your shape that you need. Okay, now you'll need the exact same thing if you have an embossing folder that is this long. I have one here. This is a Cuttlebug embossing folder, but it's a strip, and it cuts out all these little not cuts out, sorry, it embosses all these little bird cages. So you do the same thing. You'll stick your paper in here, set it on top of a cutting plate and the platform, put your paper in there, sandwich it, and you run it through. Okay, when you run it through, then you take your paper out, and then your decorative bird cages are embossed on that paper. There's also some embossing folders that are smaller, like the Sizzix ones. This is a Sizzix embossing folder of a butterfly. Same thing, you put your paper in there, and I would usually not use this one for it, although you can, because it's the exact same like width and stuff. But you don't have to. I end up using the bigger one. So for this here, I would use this side because it's like a textured impressions. It's like a folder. So whether it be this size embossing folder or the larger size embossing folders, which are this size here. This is a Sizzix embossing folder. This is from Tim Holtz. So whether it be this one or this one, I would use tab number 1 because it says that you can here for the textured impressions or embossing folders. I would use that. So same thing, you would slide that in, use a cutting plate, and use, I'm just going to stick a little scrap in there. And then when you run it through, I'm just going to take it in and then bring it back out. And it'll emboss your butterfly in there. Okay, so I hope that this helps you so that you'll know what you need for what. If you need a different demo as far as like for spellbinders or something, I can do a quick one for that too, although you would just need to just set it on top of here, or which is the tab number 2. You don't have to open this at all. It would have to sit right on top just because it's so super thin, and it's just the metal pieces themselves that will cut out your shape. But for spellbinders, you can use these. The bigger ones that will fit into the ground caliber are some of the larger ones won't fit in here, but you can use some of the smaller ones from that line and use it in your big shot. Otherwise, you'll have to get the ground caliber machine itself just for those. If you have a Big Shot Pro, you can probably run those through no problem because they're a lot wider. Okay, so I hope that helps a little bit. All right, you guys, ending out from the Jule box. Talk to you guys later. Bye.